Right, so three weather computers have just had a proper chat and agreed on something for the first time since Brexit. Britain's about to freeze its collective socks off. What I'm about to tell you will make your central heating bill weep actual tears and your cat start plotting revenge. We're tracking a Scandinavian high that's basically the atmospheric equivalent of your mother-in-law coming to stay. Cold, unwelcome, and potentially lasting forever. Drop your location in the comments and I'll tell you exactly how miserable you're going to be in 12 days' time. It's like a horoscope, but with more frostbite. The European model, American GFS, and UK Met Office have achieved something remarkable. They've all agreed on the same thing, which frankly is more unity than we've seen in Westminster. For the first time this winter, all three are showing identical patterns that could make your freezer look like a tropical holiday destination. We're looking at a 75% chance of -10-degree conditions. That's cold enough to freeze the complaints right out of British people's mouths. This isn't your typical British winter, where we moan about 2 degrees. We're talking proper Siberian air that makes polar bears pack extra jumpers. London, Manchester and Birmingham residents prepare for heating bills that'll make you consider moving to the sun, or at least Spain. But before we get to the bit where I terrify you about your energy costs, let me show you what's happening this week. Southern England is about to get absolutely drenched, and I mean properly soaked, like standing under a cold shower fully clothed for 12 hours. Thursday's rain warning is basically Mother Nature saying, "Hold my pint," before absolutely hammering the south coast. The jet stream has gone completely mental, diving through Europe like it's been launched from a catapult by an angry giant. Here's what's brilliant. While you're all complaining about Thursday's rain, the atmosphere is secretly plotting something far worse. It's like when your partner says, "We need to talk." You think it's about the washing up, but actually, they've maxed out your credit card. Edinburgh, Glasgow and Newcastle. Congratulations, you've won the geographic lottery for experiencing temperatures that would make penguins emigrate. Now, here's where this story becomes more dramatic than Love Island. We're witnessing a Scandinavian high developing with the persistence of a door-to-door salesman. The ensemble models are showing something meteorologists get more excited about than finding a good pub that's still open. A blocking pattern so strong it could dominate European weather for weeks. Cardiff, Bristol and Plymouth. Even your typically mild southwestern positions won't escape this Arctic invasion, which is basically the weather equivalent of your in-laws turning up unannounced. What makes this pattern absolutely unprecedented is that computer models are agreeing more consistently than British people agree on what constitutes a proper cup of tea. Usually, long-range forecasts change their minds more often than a teenager choosing an outfit, but this signal is steadier than a Yorkshire pudding recipe. We're looking at temperature spreads wider than the gap between what politicians promise and what they deliver. Norwich, Ipswich and East Anglia. Your proximity to Europe means you'll be first to experience continental air so cold it makes your ex's heart seem warm. Here's something that'll blow your mind more than the price of a pint these days. We're tracking air that's been sitting over Siberia getting colder than a Scotsman's wallet. This air has spent weeks over the Siberian landmass, which is basically nature's deep freezer with the efficiency of German engineering. This isn't maritime air that's had a few drinks and warmed up crossing water. This is continental Arctic air, purer than a monastery's thoughts. Leeds, Sheffield, and the Pennines. Your elevated positions could experience temperature drops more dramatic than soap opera plot twists. Before I reveal how the North Sea could become Britain's personal snow machine, tell me, are you the type who gets excited about extreme weather, or do you start Googling flights to Tenerife? The polar vortex is positioned like a bouncer at a nightclub, perfectly placed to let all the wrong customers in. Brighton, Bournemouth, and the South Coast. Your seaside locations usually provide more protection than an umbrella in a hurricane, but even you aren't safe from this. What's particularly brilliant about this pattern is how it could stick around longer than your university debt. Blocking patterns are like that relative who comes for Christmas and somehow ends up staying until Easter. They just refuse to leave. Derby, Nottingham, and the Midlands. Your central position puts you perfectly placed to experience the full British winter experience. whether you asked for it or not. The dew points are forecast to drop faster than a politician's approval rating during a scandal. We're talking bone-dry continental air that'll make the Sahara look humid. Perfect conditions for frost that'll make your car look like it's been decorated by Elsa from Frozen. Widespread temperatures below -5 are looking likely. That's cold enough to make your brass monkey consider relocating to warmer climates. Oxford, Reading, and the Thames Valley. Your geography could create temperature inversions more confusing than British politics. The beauty of modern meteorology is we can watch this unfold like a really expensive disaster movie, except we can't leave the cinema. We're getting front row seats to what could be the most significant winter weather event since people stopped talking about anything else. Liverpool, Preston, and the Northwest. Your Atlantic moderation could be overwhelmed faster than a chip shop on a Friday night. The GFS model has been showing the same solution for 5 days straight. That's more consistency than we get from train timetables. When weather computers agree this consistently, it's like finding a parking space in central London. Rare and probably significant. Canterbury, Dover, and Kent. Your continental exposure makes you the gateway for weather systems more unwelcome than door-to-door energy salesmen. Siberian air in January is basically nature's way of reminding us that central heating was humanity's greatest invention. When this air starts moving, it carries temperatures that make your freezer compartment look like a sauna. Bath, Gloucester, and the Cotswolds. Your elevated terrain could create winter wonderlands more picturesque than a Christmas card, and twice as inconvenient. The ensemble forecasts are narrowing faster than the choice of decent TV programs after 9 p.m. We're seeing mathematical probability of 75%. That's more certain than the weather presenter's fake enthusiasm about weekend drizzle. Exeter, Torbay, and Devon. Your southwestern sanctuary could experience weather more shocking than the price of a coffee at a service station. Easterly winds over the North Sea could create lake-effect snow, more abundant than complaints about the weather on British social media. Hull, Grimsby, and the Humber. You're positioned perfectly to receive whatever the North Sea decides to dump on you, like a meteorological lucky dip nobody asked for. The sea level pressure patterns are showing blocking stronger than the Wi-Fi password at your local coffee shop. Inverness, Aberdeen, and Scotland. You could experience conditions that make your normal winter seem like a Mediterranean cruise. We're witnessing atmospheric dynamics more complex than assembling IKEA furniture without the instructions. Peterborough, Cambridge, and East Anglia. Your flat terrain makes you perfect candidates for snow accumulation deeper than a politician's promises. The potential duration of this pattern could be longer than the queue at the post office during Christmas week. Energy bills could spike higher than house prices in London. Time to start practicing your "I'm not cold, just energy-conscious" dance. Portsmouth, Southampton, and the Solent. Your naval heritage could be tested by conditions more challenging than explaining Brexit to foreigners. This could make the 2018 Beast from the East look like a gentle spring breeze with commitment issues. We're looking at sustained easterly flow longer than the average British conversation about the weather. Maidstone, Ashford, and Kent. Your Garden of England could be transformed into the freezer of England. Multiple atmospheric factors are aligning like planets during a cosmic event, except instead of enlightenment, we get really expensive heating bills. It's like watching nature's equivalent of a perfectly choreographed flash mob, but instead of dancing, everything just freezes. Worcester, Hereford, and the Welsh borders. You're positioned between maritime and continental influences like a meteorological sandwich nobody ordered. We could witness temperature drops more dramatic than the plot twist in your favorite TV series. 40-degree temperature swings within Britain's climate system. That's more variable than British summer weather. Coventry, Leicester, and the Midlands. Your inland positions make you candidates for overnight temperatures colder than your mother's disapproval. Agricultural implications include livestock wondering if they should have emigrated and farmers Googling indoor heating for cows. Infrastructure design for British winters might face challenges more unexpected than finding a working escalator on the London Underground. Chester, Wrexham, and North Wales. Your mountains could amplify effects more dramatically than social media amplifies minor disagreements. Getting this much forecast warning is rarer than getting a straight answer from a politician or finding a comfortable train seat. Stoke-on-Trent and the Potteries. Your elevated Midlands position could create landscapes more beautiful than Instagram filters and twice as cold. Global atmospheric patterns are conspiring like a group of friends planning a surprise party. Except the surprise is frostbite. Swansea, Cardiff and Wales. Your Celtic coastline could experience conditions more Norse than Welsh. Temperature inversions could create scenarios more confusing than British queuing etiquette. Valley locations might be colder than hilltops, basically the opposite of everything you learned in geography class. Bangor, Carnarvon and Snowdonia. Your terrain could create conditions more challenging than pronouncing Welsh place names correctly. We're using space-age technology to predict Stone Age weather conditions. The irony is more British than complaining about the weather. Blackpool, Preston and the coast. Your seaside moderation could be overpowered faster than a kettle during EastEnders commercial breaks. International weather centres agreeing this consistently is rarer than British people admitting the weather is actually quite nice. Carlisle, Penrith and Cumbria. Your lakes could offer winter experiences more extreme than outdoor swimming enthusiasts bargain for. Transport networks might face challenges more disruptive than railway replacement bus services. Energy systems could be tested more thoroughly than a new partner meeting your parents for the first time. Middlesbrough, Sunderland and the North East. Your industrial heritage region could experience conditions tougher than a Geordie night out in December. This could create weather history more memorable than that time it actually stayed sunny for a whole week in Britain. Temperature records might fall faster than house prices during a recession. Stirling, Perth and central Scotland. Your position could create conditions more variable than Scottish weather in general. We're getting a masterclass in how Arctic air transforms temperate climates. It's like David Attenborough, but with more shivering. Dundee, St Andrews and Fife. Your Scottish exposure makes you prime candidates for the full Arctic experience, haggis not included. Atmospheric chaos theory in action. Small changes creating consequences bigger than realising you've left your umbrella at home during a downpour. Kilmarnock, Ayr and southwest Scotland. Your coastal climate could be overwhelmed by continental air colder than a Scottish swimming pool in January. Climate warming versus regional Arctic events creates paradoxes more confusing than British politics in general. Dumfries, Stranraer and the Borders. Your position could experience temperature gradients steeper than the learning curve for understanding cricket. Satellite imagery will show atmospheric dynamics more dramatic than reality TV, but with actual consequences. Fort William, Oban and the Highlands. Your mountains could create extremes that make mountain rescue services very busy indeed. Blocking patterns can persist longer than British people can go without mentioning the weather in conversation. Lerwick, Kirkwall and the islands, you'll experience Arctic air so pure it makes bottled water marketing look amateur. Each model run will either confirm this pattern or leave us all looking as foolish as someone who forgot their coat in a British winter. Weather enthusiasts should prepare for conditions more exciting than finding out your local pub has extended its opening hours. Drop your location in the comments and I'll tell you exactly how much you should start panicking about your heating bills. Whether you're the type who gets excited about snow or immediately starts Googling cheapest flights to Spain, this will affect you. The next week will determine whether this becomes reality or just another forecast that disappoints weather enthusiasts. Like and subscribe for updates on what could be the most expensive winter heating event of the decade. Thanks for joining this journey into potential Arctic misery. It's been more fun than explaining why British weather is actually a conversation starter. Keep warm, keep your sense of humour, and remember, complaining about the weather is practically a British constitutional right. I'll see you tomorrow with updates on whether we're all going to need to invest in thermal underwear or just extra jumpers. Until then, this has been your guide to why central heating was humanity's greatest achievement. Stay warm, stay British, and I'll catch you tomorrow with more weather that's definitely worth complaining about.